Prayers up in the chat for Moist Critical. It seems like he's quitting YouTube indefinitely for a mental health break because he got the debate hurt his feelings.
So Sneako has completely blindsided Moist Critical after tricking him into a debate. Sneako destroyed him so badly that the internet was sent into a frenzy. And it got so serious, Moist Critical has had to take a step away from the internet and made a pretty consequential video explaining it all. So pretty much how this all started was that Sneako was rambling on about how he felt that Charlie was avoiding talking about the whole Chris Mr. Beast situation because he deep down wanted to make a collab with Mr. Beast, which goes against journalist integrity.
Yo, look out, Moist Critical is not gonna go talk about the Chris situation because he wants to have the Mr. Beast collab. Bro, you're gonna talk about every other trending situation, Dr. Disrespect, Sneako, anything that goes viral goes on your main channel. Chris, the associate of the biggest YouTube channel in the world, you do a 4-minute clip on your second channel. Stop coping and be a journalist if you're gonna be a journalist, or just say that you wanna have the collab. Stop lying.
Sneako kept pushing the matter, going everywhere on social media, basically questioning Charlie's morals on everything. Charlie would then respond, calling Sneako a hypocrite because Sneako has had some pretty absurd takes on the age of consent. So why would he care so much about the whole Chris Tyson situation? Charlie thought Sneako wasn't actually serious here. He didn't think his views on the age of consent were actually real.
I thought he was talking in hyperbole. I thought he was just exaggerating, being over the top.
Charlie was also giving Sneako a chance here to explain his beliefs because generally he didn't think Sneako was being serious here.
I was willing to hear him out because again, if this is some kind of crazy misunderstanding, I'd like to know that because it'd be really scary for someone in his position with his level of influence to be actually advocating for adults marrying children.
But that's the big mistake from Charlie. Clearly, he hasn't seen too much of Sneako recently because, yeah, if you do, you'd know it's all real. At first, Charlie thought it was just a call where Sneako could explain his views on recording no streams, but in reality, Sneako had other plans.
He eventually called me on Discord. I was under the impression this was just him and I talking. I had no idea this was going to be a debate. I thought he was going to try and explain himself like I thought this was a conversation between him and I, not this kind of debate show that he was putting on for his audience. There is nothing in our DMs that indicated that's where it was going. When I joined the call, he asked if I was going to record it, to which I said I can if he wants me to, but I was also down to just talk. I didn't know it was because it was being streamed. I didn't know this was a debate nor a stream until about an hour and 40 into it, roughly somewhere in that ballpark.
And you could probably guess that the debate went downhill fast.
Anyone, do you think it's okay for anyone in their 20s, an adult, to marry a 15 or 16-year-old?
Yeah, so that basically set the tone for the entire debate. And I'm sure you can expect it got even worse from there.
If there was a marriage where the father consented and the daughter consented, and it was both good on both families and they wanted to do it, why am I going to get involved?
Obviously an extremely absurd thing to say, so Charlie would obviously respond and explain the very clear maturity gap.
They're at best a sophomore in high school. They can't consent to something like that.
But of course, Sneako still thinks it's the 1800s.
If you lived in America in the 1800s where the age of 10 was okay, and where the age of 7 was okay in England just 200 years ago, if you followed the world around you, that would be okay.
But then this is where the cracks started to show for Charlie. Obviously, if you look at it objectively. See, Charlie is completely in the right here, but he just does such a terrible job at defending his beliefs that Sneako starts to pick him apart.
So if Kamala Harris raised it to 25, would you then say that that's the new age? Would you agree with that?
I think that'd be totally understandable.
See, clearly that's not totally understandable. That was just a horrible point, and this gave Sneako the opening to attack. Sneako kept pressing and pressing Charlie until the debate flipped towards kids taking hormone therapy, and at this point it all fell apart for Charlie.
Do you believe that somebody can go through hormone therapy? Can they change their gender if they're a child?
I think that's totally fine as long as everyone is consenting, as you agree with.
Again, just a shocking take from Charlie, but more importantly, it created an inconsistency in his arguments, and Sneako was quick to point that out.
So if you have someone that's your age coming in saying, I want to marry that child, I don't think that can happen under any circumstance.
So, no. But it's still a personal decision. You're still deciding.
Really, both sides didn't win here. Charlie did a terrible job at defending his own views, he was contradicting himself, and he clearly backed up his arguments in the wrong way. Whereas for Sneako, he had some pretty horrible views on marriage, but he's become so used to debates that he's had more time to think about his positions and arguments, so he can maneuver his arguments a lot better than Charlie. As days went past, the debates would start to go viral. Unfortunately, Charlie received a ton of backlash for his takes and just how poorly he performed against Sneako. I have never seen Charlie this panicked. Can't believe Sneako actually got to him to say something dumb and now he's fumbling to put his words together. He should have never had a debate with him. Sneako does not deserve a platform. He's referring to this clip where after the debate, Charlie is clearly kind of shaken up and just stuttering all over the place.
I just don't understand how it got so muddled. Half of the fucking conversation was hyperbole, and apparently that one was literal. Or it's a very malicious attack on what I'm trying to say or misunderstanding. I don't know. I think I'm just going to call it there. Alright. Take it easy. Have a good night. See ya.
And it just kept getting worse for Charlie. He'd go pretty quiet on social and refuse to upload the full debates on YouTube, making it seem like he was afraid of how poorly he performed. It was clear something was up with Charlie, until he'd reveal it's all been getting to him recently, and his mental health from being consistently online was destroying him. It led to Charlie stepping away from the podcasts he was on Patreon. They would then release a statement. Hey everyone, effective immediately, Charlie has made the decision to leave both the official podcast and Red Thread. He wants to go on an indefinite hiatus to scale back his time spent on the internet. We obviously wish him the best, for everyone to respect his decision, and for all to know that the show will always be open for him to drop by and talk shop should he wish to return. People were confused. It really did look like Charlie was taking a step back from the internet because of the whole Sneako debate, and that's what people ran with. I mean, which is fair. If you perform so badly on a debate to the point where you're getting backlash and then go dark for a few days just to say you're stepping back from a podcast and that your mind isn't right, it's a reasonable conclusion to come to, and you could tell Sneako was loving it.
Prayers up in the chat for Moist Critical. It seems like he's quitting YouTube indefinitely for a mental health break because he got the debate hurt his feelings. He still hasn't uploaded it. In my opinion, it seems like he's dodging uploading the debate a little bit by retiring, but come out of retirement, upload the debate, everything will be fine. We're praying for you. I hope you're okay.
So this narrative started running for a few days. Moist Critical is going on an indefinite hiatus after getting cooked by Sneako in a debate. It was getting kind of out of control here, so Charlie drops a video explaining pretty much everything. He first clears up everything, saying that he's not leaving the internet, just the podcast.
Everyone was under the impression that I was quitting the internet. I mean, looking at the post, I don't even know where that's coming from. It's literally just talking about the podcast and me just stepping away.
He then explains that his mental health has been suffering from the amounts of shit he's seen online recently. He just felt chronically online, and because of that, whatever he saw on Twitter would have a greater effect on his mood.
It has become draining. As much as I never wanted to admit it, I've started to recognize that my mood is immediately impacted by whatever I read on Twitter in the morning. It immediately affects my entire day and my whole outlook on the day. It hasn't been as fun recently. It hasn't.
He's just felt the pressure of the internet and thought it was best to take a step back from the podcast because of how chronically online it made him.
Mainly because I started to recognize that I was becoming the very thing I'd make fun of with being chronically online. Like, I just was always online, and the podcasts were a big proponent of that, and I just kind of wanted to scale back the amount of time I spend online, so...
As well as covering YouTube drama for the exact same reasons. He does kind of explain that he didn't do too well in the debates.
I am not a debater. I've never claimed to be one. I never want to be a debater.
Going as far as to say he regrets debating with Sneako.
And I really regret not doing a better job here. It's not something I should have even done in the first place. I just have a tendency to really hope for the best out of people.
It's all a pretty weird situation. I think history shows it's hard to debate with Sneako. He doesn't really like to change his views on anything. So if you're in a pretty bad mental place already, he's not the guy to have a chat with. It's clear Charlie's intentions were pure, but it's just so difficult for Sneako. But that's all I have. Thanks for watching.